Hey there, folks. Welcome back to Chits and Cardboard. Today, we are here to talk to you about Earth. Earth is a lightweight, middleweight-ish nature-themed board game, one in a line of many. It was put out by Inside Up Games, and we are here to hopefully tell you if A, you should spend your hard-earned dollars on it, and B, what makes it different from the rest of the games in this category. Stick around. We're excited to talk to you about it. I'm John.
I'm Jeff.
This is Chits and Cardboard. Okay, welcome back. So let's get into Earth. Before we tell you our opinion, we're just going to get into kind of how the game plays, just so you have a general understanding of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
So Earth is played in basically a 4x4 grid, a 4x4 tableau, where you will be planting cards into your island. And on your turn, you're going to be doing one of 4 actions.
Yep.
Over and over and over until someone has planted 16 cards.
Yeah.
Those actions are plant, compost, water, and grow.
Yep.
When you plant, you basically get to plant up to 2 cards, and then you draw 4 cards and keep 1. When you compost, you gain 5 soil, which is used to plant cards, and then you can compost 2 cards from the deck. Composting is like a pile that just gives you points at the end of the game. When you water, you get to put seeds on your plants or sprouts on your plants, and then gain a little bit of soil. And then when you grow, you get to grow your plants by putting like little trunks on them and then drawing a whole bunch of cards. You get to draw 4 cards.
Yeah.
And then basically once you do a primary action on your turn, everyone else gets to do a secondary action. So every time someone chooses a primary action, everyone else does that action's secondary action.
Yeah. So the secondary actions for planting, you can plant 1 card and you just draw a single card, no discarding or anything like that. Composting, you can choose whether you want to gain 2 soil, which is the primary currency, for planting all your cards and everything like that. Or you can discard 2 into your compost pile from the actual draw pile. For the watering phase, the secondary action is to sprout up 2 sprouts, or you can gain just the 2 soil. And for growing, you can gain 2 cards, or you can grow 2 levels on whatever plants you choose.
Yeah, so basically, the cool thing about this game as opposed to all the rest of these games is you don't really have downtime because on everyone's turn, you are doing something. Now, when you take that action, all your plant cards have various powers on them.
Yeah.
You activate your powers in what I'll call reading order. It means from top left to bottom right, row by row. That match that color. And that happens when anyone does an action. So if I was to take the water action, Jeff would still activate all of his plants that had the blue actions on them and then get through those bonuses. So we have some examples in front of us here to talk to you about. Like a red action, which is the composting. We have an option here that says when you compost, you also get to grow 1 and then plant or seed 1, sprout 1. So add a sprout to one of your cards. These actions, when you do them, they can happen anywhere on your tableau. It doesn't need to be on the card that says it, which is really important. For a blue action, which is typically sprouting / watering, you can, this one says -1 growth off any card to gain 2 more sprouts, to put 2 more sprouts down, 2 more cubes. This one says remove 1 card from your compost to gain 3 soil.
That's very good.
The cool thing is that when you have a whole bunch of these in certain colors, certain actions start to become very powerful for you.
Cascading.
Because you could do 1 action and then get a whole bunch done.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the magic of this game is. It's finding those combos that allow you to really snowball yourselves, right? And the learning curve is really cool because I think our first game, our scores were like in 160, and then later on we were in like the next game we were in like 270s, 250s. It was pretty high. So you'll get a hang of it pretty quick. The only other types of cards you'll be dealing with are event cards, and those are kind of like one-shot instants that just let you kind of do various things, whether it be like gaining soil, gaining sprouts, spending stuff to do stuff. They're just instants. Usually they have negative associated victory points. Yeah. But they're a bonus you get to do in that moment. Additionally, there's cards that have all 3 primary colors on it, I guess in this case, which is red, blue, yellow. Yep. And then if you have the 3 primary colors on a card, that's basically when you choose any action but plant, you can activate that card.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. So what's the objective of all this, right? Why are you doing all this? You're trying to earn the most victory points, which we hate that explanation, but that's basically what you're trying to do. There are objectives you're trying to meet throughout the game in the form of fauna, which are sitting in the middle board that is viewable by everyone, and basically the first person to achieve a certain objective gets a whole bunch of points, second person gets a bit less, so on and so forth.
I think an example of that in the last game we had was once you have, I think it was 15 cards in your compost pile, then you can claim those victory points.
Yeah, once you claim it, if you lose it, you don't lose it. Like if you spend those later, you're fine. Also, there was the island, not island cards, the ecosystem, not ecosystem. What am I looking for? The environment cards,
yes,
the ones that are like climate, basically, which are another scoring condition for endgame scoring. You have one private one, and then you don't have any public ones in the basic game, but in the advanced game, you have 2 of them. We prefer to play that way. And then you also have your actual island, which sets up your starting setup, as well as a variable power, and then the climate card, which is on your player board, which has the same thing, just a starting power, basically.
And then the ecosystem as well.
Yeah, which is just endgame scoring.
Yeah.
So flora cards tend to be basically just those powers we talked about. And then you have terrain cards. Terrain cards can also be planted, but those are more so like endgame scoring or passives.
Yes.
Things like every card diagonal from the terrain card, like orthogonally diagonal from the terrain card, ends up giving you 5 extra victory points if it's a mushroom card type, for example, is something you might run into. There's a bunch of powers like that. There's ones that are like, draw a straight line through this card, and for every plant you cross that is this type, you get XYZ victory points. Those are pretty cool.
Or passives like if you are planting something that's in like a sunny region or something like that, it costs you 1 less soil to plant that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's basically it for Earth. That's just a general overview to give you a feel of how the game plays.
Yeah.
If you were to compare it to games you're more familiar to, Wingspan, for example, it's like Wingspan, but you're doing stuff on other people's turns as well.
Yeah.
Basically, there's less downtime, but the theme is a little less lovable. It's plants, not birds.
I've heard people also like compare it to Terraforming Mars meets Wingspan. If they had a baby, this game is very similar to that.
That's very true. Yeah. It's very much so like Ares Expedition, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, we'll be back in a moment to tell you about our thoughts. And if you like the video so far, please like and subscribe. It helps us a lot. We will catch you shortly. Okay, so Jeff, the moment of truth.
Yeah.
Earth costs, I want to say $60 Canadian. Like it barely doesn't make that last video we did, the top 550.
Yeah, that's true. It was somewhere around that price point.
Yeah. But do you think it is worth that $60?
Honestly, I think it is. I have really enjoyed our games.
Yeah.
Everybody has seemed to enjoy it for the most part. We have had a couple people be like, okay, it's just a little too overwhelming because it's point salad and everything. There's so many different things going on. But really, totally. It's really easy to pick up. And each playthrough that you have, you can kind of just compete against yourself last time and just try and create a better engine and like build up differently, try a different strategy than before, and you just kind of play around with things. Like it's really, really enjoyable. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think this is a really approachable game. I do think a newer player might get a little bit of AP their first time around, some analysis paralysis. I think that if you're really trying to min-max, you can get kind of lost in the sauce a bit.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But I do think that because you're always kind of playing and everyone's turn just triggers other people to do other stuff, it's just there's always motion happening. You never feel like you're really at a standstill.
Definitely. And that's my favorite thing I would say about this game overall is the fact that there isn't downtime. Like now sometimes it is nice to kind of plan out and like look through your cards and decide what you want to go for next. You're kind of already doing that, but you're constantly playing. Like when you make an action, I'm also doing an action. It's just not as good, and it might not be the one I would have chosen if it was directly my turn right now. But I'm still benefiting.
Agreed. And I think the cool thing that you mentioned is there's a lot to worry about, but the more you play it, it doesn't feel like it gets boring because you can always be like, oh well, I could have improved that thing, or I can pay more attention to this thing, or I don't know what the score cap for this game would be. I would imagine it's somewhere in like the low 300s, maybe low mid 300s.
Yeah, maybe.
But it's really fun to just find new ways to score points and get a whole whack of points. Like there's one time I went full-blown engine and Jeff went full-blown engine and just had a whole bunch of trees and seeds and stuff. And there's one time I didn't do that. I just went for just having my board laid out perfectly so all my cards score a bunch of points. I imagine if the stars align, some crazy stuff could happen, but to be determined, right? I think that's where the fun is.
You just beat me that time too. I was like, oh, I've got all of my sprouts out, like all my cards are filled. I literally have every tree fully grown, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill him this time.
Absolutely.
And you beat me by like 8 points.
Now, the replayability of this game is unreal. The setup, there's like 5,000 or so different setups you could possibly have, if not more, just combinations of different cards and scoring conditions. And then there's so many Earth cards. And if they were to put out an expansion, they don't even need to add like content, like new like mechanics. They just need to add more Earth cards, and you'd have so much content.
Even like, just added train cards, because they change up your strategy so much.
Sure.
Like you can go for a specific thing, and that will change things.
Yeah,
right?
what I would love to see an expansion where they add like it's like critters
that
live on certain types of plants. Like even if it's just like bugs or something, I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, that would be really cool. That's a good idea.
The game is awesome. The game is really awesome. Yeah. Inside Up Games knocks it out of the park. This is one of their, obviously, their most popular game, I think. There's not another game that really measures up to this in terms of popularity. I know Gorus Maximus is a popular trick-taking game they've made. They also made Summit, but this is definitely just, by and large, the biggest game that's come out of the shop, and understandably so. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's Earth.
Yeah.
Pick it up. Again, super affordable. There is a crazy Kickstarter Deluxe Edition out there. I don't have it. I know it's beautiful. I have 3D printed like a crazy insert for my copy just because I plan on playing it a bunch.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you do pick it up, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, definitely.
And let us know what you thought of it, more importantly. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you. I'm John.
Absolutely. I'm Jeff.
And this is Shits and Cardboard. Signing out. See you.
Yeah.